Hey there, welcome to the Jeff and Heidi Show, where you're going to have the opportunity to listen to and learn from everyday entrepreneurs.
Hi, this is Heidi Anderson from ECI Business Financial Strategies and my co-host Jeff Heggie of Jeff Heggie Coaching. And we are so excited today to have on the show Connie Whitman. I met Connie, it was kind of a fluke. I joined this JV partnership training thing, and I had never done anything like that before, so I got on there and just started participating in the activities. It was actually kind of fun, and Connie said something and it caught my attention, and we just started talking. Then we took the conversation off of the group, and I loved her energy. I loved what she had to say, and I think you will really learn a lot from her and her experience. So without any further ado, here's Connie Whitman.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited. Always love sharing content, right? Letting people learn some things. At the end of the day, it's a good thing.
So why don't you tell us, what you do?
So I've been in business, Whitman Associates, for 20 years now, but I've been in financial sales for 37 years, which I know I don't look at, guys. So 37 years in sales, you kind of just learn. I grew up in the industry and just kind of learned. And then 20 years ago, the company I was working for, they had a big merger, and I just didn't want to work for them anymore. And it was in the banking industry. And I don't know if anybody remembers in the 90s, banking, 90s, early 2000s, banking, it was like merger mania. So I remember coming home. We had 2 babies at home and a mortgage. We needed my income. And I came home and I said to my husband, I don't want to work for this company. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to get fired and I want to start my own company. Like, no pressure there. And, never look back. And that was 20 years ago. So my premise now is, or for the past 20 years, is most of my clients are corporate clients where I go and I teach their sales teams really how to communicate more effectively with their clients. And the objective is always to, increase sales. Last year, I pivoted a little bit since I'm getting a little older. I'm trying, and everything is digitized now. So I have 20 years of curriculum built up. Now I'm shifting to the digital market. And that's how we met, Heidi, through that JV challenge to see if I could expand my network, not only from face-to-face meetings, networking events, but now on this digital platform. So what a ride, man. It's all different it's all different language. It's all different skills you have to develop, right?
So what's been the biggest challenge in that, going and changing to the digital format?
The digital, I just turned 58. So Jeff, the shifting from doing everything live, all of my training has been live. And of course, with the COVID, that stopped mid-March where, everybody's like hands off, like I have the cooties. So not welcome anymore, right? But it's funny how I started last year. But the biggest challenge for me is definitely the technology. That learning curve is exponential. These young entrepreneurs, I envy them in one regard because it's intuitive for them. Technology is not nearly intuitive at all for me. I have to look things up. I have to hire people because I can't do it myself. The young entrepreneur, that's a blessing for them. The flip side is I have all of this knowledge, in my head. And that's the missing piece, I think, with the young entrepreneurs. So I think with what Heidi and I are doing, shifting to that digital realm, I think my knowledge, the younger generation will benefit from, and the digital format, they're already there. So that's kind of my target market are those younger entrepreneurs, mid-20s to mid-40s, just because I know so much and it's so intuitive for me that they need to just shift from the technology to the skills, the soft skills.
That's true. So you're shifting from the soft skills to the technology, and they're going the opposite direction in a way.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and the good news is for us older people, a lot of the technology, they're making it so much easier. Like Zoom and everything is so much easier to use than then I can't even imagine us trying to put this together, even probably 5 years ago.
Yeah. It would have been a nightmare. Zoom is fabulous. Skype is all of these platforms. Once you understand them, they're easy, right? But it's that whole learning curve initially to get on and navigate it.
So it was probably a major advantage for you going into the COVID-19 that you had started this a year ago, so that you didn't come to a screeching halt, that you had a few things already implemented going digital. Is that right?
Yeah, isn't that funny? I don't know if you guys believe in the universe, but I believe the universe talks to us and provides the opportunity. So last year I had written a book, probably it's got to be maybe 5-6 years ago, and between the kids and work and just life, I had to put it on the shelf. I just couldn't take on another thing right on the pile of things you're already doing as a working mom or business owner mom. So I put it on the shelf, and last summer I said to my husband, because I'm aging, I said, I got to finish the book and I got to start to take all of my curriculum and put it on the digital platform. Divine intervention, call it what you will, but there was something that was pushing me to make that shift. So how lucky am I? Then you're exactly right, Jeff, when COVID hit, I shifted immediately. Like, people were saying they were cleaning their cupboards and they were tired of Netflix. And I was working 7 days a week. I said to my husband, what's wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. How come I can't slow down? But I saw it as an opportunity. See, opportunity knocks when you least suspect it or expect it. And I thought, I got to pivot. I got to shift. I have to take advantage. Because if this only lasts a month, what can I get done in that month? If it lasts 2 months, holy smokes, what can I get done in 2 months, et cetera, et cetera. So I am leveraging my time big time. You're exactly right.
That's super.
Yeah, and Connie actually has a show kind of like this.
Yes.
What is the topic of your show?
It's called Enlightenment of Change, and I've been doing that podcast. It's August of 2020. It'll be 7 years, and I started, not knowing. Again, who knows how to host a show? But I like challenges, because I like when people say, "Hey, you should try this." I think I have nothing. I don't know anything about that, but I'm going to look at that. That sounds interesting. So when I was approached to host the show, I'm not afraid, right, of challenges. So I thought, yeah, I could do this. It's cool. And that was 7 years ago. So it's international now, which I'm real proud of. It's called Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net is the platform. And the premise of that show, Heidi, to answer your question, it's just, we have to change. We have to continue to move forward. And whatever that means for your listeners, we can't get stuck. Getting stuck to me is not an option. So the premise of the show is I have guests from around the world, new authors, or they have new products or services that they're promoting. But the content that we share is ways to navigate change and hopefully to broaden people's perspective, so that whatever change they're seeking, it's another way of saying, I never thought of that as an alternative. Hey, let me give that a go. I like those steps that Jeff shared, right? And then they could start implementing it immediately after the show. So it's really about change and changing your perspective so you embrace change and figure out how to navigate and move forward. I don't ever want to hear people get stuck. That breaks my heart, because we have one life, right? We have one shot. Let's do it, man. Let's do it and rock it. That's just, how I feel about people when they tell me they're stuck. Like, we can do this,
That's great. And we'll make sure to, in the show notes and stuff, I have the link and stuff for Web Talk Radio and your show. I'll make sure that gets out there so people can get that. But I love that, because that's something that I've really been trying to focus on the last 2 months is, this is a terrible situation we're in, and there's a lot of bad things happening.
Absolutely.
But there's so many opportunities, and there's so many things that are available to us. I mean, I'm kind of like you right now, that I'm like, man, I'm working so hard trying to get things done. And as much as I want the economy and everything to get back to normal, there's times I'm like, I want it to stay like this for a while, because I'm more productive now than I was before, because I can sit down and focus and work. And, and that's why I've put out some videos on those topics and stuff, because I think people need to recognize and get away from the victim mentality and say, okay, this is something I can't control. We can control certain things. So let's focus on what we can control and take advantage of the opportunities that are here. And I mean, not neglecting the fact that people have lost their jobs and stuff like that, of course, and people are sick, but there are a lot of opportunities. So I love what you're focusing on that show. That's great.
Yeah, and it's really cool because initially, and we were teasing about my Jersey accent. I hope your listeners can hear it and they're enchanted by it. But when I first started the show, who did I know, right? I knew people in New Jersey, colleagues, other businesses that I had networked with. And so the producer came to me, I guess about a year in, and she said to me, it's a Jersey show. You got to find people outside of Jersey. So I come back, I'm like, I don't know how to do that, right? Like, what? So that night we were having dinner and I said to my husband, you know what she wants me to do now? Like this burden was thrust upon me. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? I go, I don't know. I said, you know what? I've made a decision. Universe, take it off my plate. Figure it out, because I had zero idea how to expand my listenership, let alone the guests I was having on the show. And another funny story, right? Not that I'm all woo-woo, but these stories are appropriate to share. So after about 2 weeks of me kind of throwing up my hands in frustration, all of a sudden I started getting these publicists and PR people sending me authors. One was from Italy, there was one from Hawaii, somebody from Canada. So I said to my husband, holy crap, like I think there's a listening device in my office, because all of a sudden, so I kept saying to these PR people, how'd you find me? And they said, oh, you showed up on some wire. Now, I swear to God, Jeff and Heidi, I did nothing. We did nothing. My name showed up on a wire. So now fast forward, I really had beautiful thought leaders and brilliant authors from around the world that come on the show. So the content is so rich and diverse and cool. There's so many cool people out there.
So how many episodes do you have banked on if somebody want to go back in and listen to some of this, how many episodes are there?
I guess August, 7 years. So what's say 12 times 6 is what? Yeah. I do one a week. No, I do one a week.
One a week. Oh,
so
wow.
it's 52 shows per year times 6. So
300.
Yeah. Good. And I'm telling you, some good content. Yeah. Cool. Right.
Yeah, I went on and right after we met, and I watched one of them. But I'll have to go back and dig in and listen, because some of the topics you just brought up really sound fascinating.
And you know what's cool too? Obviously, it's free content. So, and I love that, because here we're teaching people, like Jeff said before, so that we don't get stuck and that we do see alternatives, right? And get away from that whole victim mentality. So I love that my guests bring so much to the table. But I mean, I've had from leadership people, sales people, really noteworthy people, all the way down to, I had my yoga teacher on once. I had a gentleman who he had beautiful Italian accent about meditation and different ways to meditate. So it's not just, it's on a business platform, but I kind of believe that the mind, body, spirit, like if we're not good here, how are you good out there? So I love that I get to cultivate and get these guests from all different walks of life and industries, because you never know what's going to touch the listeners, right? What person, what voice, what process will spark them to say, oh, I could do that. Like that's kind of easy for me, or I can incorporate that in my life. So it's not just business. It's a lot of other, I guess, spiritual, if you want to call it that, way to live, right? Live a healthy, clean life.
That's great. And just as another reminder, it's Enlightenment of Change on Web Talk Radio, and we'll make sure that's in the show notes. So thanks.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
I'd like to hear more about some of the things you teach. Like if we could hear about the 7-step sales process and those sort of things that you teach. You want to just expand on that a little bit? Sure.
So, when you start your career, how many sales processes did I learn? Who were the trainers? What was the corporate model? And you adopt it and you do what you're told, right? As a kid. Through the years, you find, and this people who are in sales that are listening will understand this, you feel what works and you feel what doesn't work. So over my 37, almost 38 years, I started using the 7-step process. I didn't realize I had a process until I had to teach it, which was 20 years ago, right? Your whole paradigm of thinking shifts from me to how do I communicate this so people can duplicate my system, because it's easy. The other thing I've learned, and why my 7 steps, and then I'll dig in what the 7 steps are, Jeff, to answer your question, but why I think my process is good, or why it works, because it's easy. And I I live my life from a simple, stupid perspective. Not that I'm stupid, I'm highly intelligent. But if you make processes or things too complex, it's hard to navigate because you're getting caught up in the minutia of whatever the process is. So mine is simple, stupid. So here's the 7 steps. Number 1, you have to be prepared. So that includes organizational skills, time management skills. Your office has to be organized so that you can be creative and you can prepare properly for client meetings. You have to have your questions, your arsenal of questions to ask the client. You have to have your product knowledge. All of that is preparation. So that's step 1. To me, that's a big step. And I think a lot of people shoot from the hip and they don't do preparation. Dangerous, very dangerous. The thing is too, like I've used my same agenda, I think for 18 years. About 18 years ago, I realized I keep creating these agendas and it's the same thing over and over. I have my standard agenda that like I include that in my training so that people understand. Keep it simple. Don't make it overcomplicated. Step 2, building rapport. And that's another one. We have to connect with our people, right? Our clients. If I don't understand where they're coming from, I'm never communicating on the same page. I'm doing this a lot. So step 2, you've lost the sale if you can't even connect properly with your client. So I have a second business called Wisdom Decoded, and my partner and I, about 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago, I'm DISC certified. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a behavioral model that's been around for 100 years. My partner is from academia. She's been a dean of universities. She's Myers-Briggs certified. And one day we were talking and I said, you know what annoys me about DISC? You could cheat. You could go on and cheat and answer the way you want to be seen, but not really how you are. So people would come into my classes. A lot of my clients use DISC and they'd say, oh, I'm an ID. And I'm thinking, you're a CS. Like, what are you doing? Because I've been doing it. I've been using DISC for 30 years. I could tell you quickly what your style is. So she and we did a ton of research. We tested and we create another free resource. I'm happy to share with your listeners. It's called our Communication Style Assessment, a CSA. We trademarked it. And the difference is you have to go into the questions and you rank them. So it's not just like a yes or no or pick one or the other. You have to choose all, but rank them. So you get a more realistic view. So that we add in the CSA goes with the building rapport. I have to understand who I'm talking to. Step 3 is questionings. You have to ask open-ended questions. You have to pause. There's a whole dynamic of questioning, styling that you have to implement as part of your process. With questioning is listening. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth, which means we need to stop talking and listen at least twice as much as we speak. And then the 5th step is presenting. So based on your preparation of the client, building rapport, what you feel and get to know them, the questions you ask, those dynamic pieces of information they give you that you heard, now you go into present. And for me, presenting should be one of the easiest steps, because if you did a good job up from 1 through 4, by the time you get to present, it should be like a light from the heavens saying, ta-da, like this is what the client needs. It should be screaming at you. And so then you have a direct hit. There's not like, well, I think you need, you've lost the sale. Then the next step 6, is actually asking for the business. Now, most salespeople say closing the business. I break into hives when people say that. For me, it's confirming the sale, or really it's confirming the relationship, kind of adding to how you've already helped that client so they come back to you over and over and over again. So you're fortifying or building the relationship, not closing anything. And then the last step 7, which a lot of salespeople are not good at this, is follow-up. You have to follow up with your clients, and I call it CPR follow-up. Consistent, persistent, respectful follow-up. And if you forget the respectful piece and you're badgering your client, don't come looking at me because I won't buy from you. That to me is just obnoxious. So you have to have that nice balance of the CPR, consistent, persistent, respectful follow-up. And a lot of salespeople, they drop the ball. You drop the ball, you lost the trust, you've lost respect, you've lost the business. Yeah,
I love that, Connie. Can you take, I'll have to admit that my biggest weakness is sales. I mean, I can know my product inside and out. I'm a number cruncher. I would rather almost be behind the scenes just doing that.
Sure.
But that's not reality when you're an entrepreneur and
Nope.
you have your own business. You have to be able to sell. Can you help somebody like me become a salesperson?
Yeah, you and I spoke about that, right? I was teasing. I'm like, you got to get in my class, right? Well, next time I launch it, you're coming on, right? I'm going to help you out. But yes, and this is why, and Jeff, to go back to your earlier question, last year I was doing a ton of networking and meeting all of these business owners, right? Because business owners meet business owners. And I was finding that a lot of them knew what their offer was, knew their product, knew their market. They had no idea how to communicate it. So, you do your 30-second commercial going around the networking event, and they would go on and on and on. And I would sit there, because I'm very prepared, right? I'm sitting there thinking, they knew they were coming to a networking event. How did they not have their 30-second commercial prepared? This is a waste of everybody's time. Somebody's going to get left at the end. So it frustrated me. And that's when, like Heidi said, I started talking to people and I'm like, oh, yeah, but I don't want to be pushy and I don't want to sell. I'm like, then why are you in business? You have to sell. Otherwise, how are you going to get clients? So I saw a huge disconnect. And the problem was, and I think I had shared this with Heidi when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, it's very expensive to bring me in, right? My corporate clients, they're a different structure because I'm doing groups of people at a time. Entrepreneurs cannot afford to pay that. So that's another reason last year, after meeting all these people struggling, I thought, wow, how can I help them so that I help them scale their business and get paid for my time? Because you can't keep volunteering that. It becomes a burden. And then now I'm not making business. I'm not going to my corporate clients because I'm helping people. Not that I ever mind helping anyone. And that's why I created the online class, because it's affordable. It's over 10 weeks. So we do a deep dive and we really, like Heidi was saying, get into the nitty gritty of where you're glitching out. We could figure that out and then really get in there and kind of massage it so that when you go out, you get better and better and better and you just get more yeses. And the other thing I just want to share with my process, again, because it's simple, stupid, right? Which works. I don't ever get objections, ever, ever, ever. Because if I meet a client and I know they're not a match, I'll say that to them. Hey, listen, I can help you do this. Why don't we schedule a call? I can help you quickly with this. This is really who you need, or this is what you need to look for. I'm not the right vendor or person for you. So I don't ask for the business because it's not a good fit. And I don't ever want to not be a good fit for a client. And I could use, is it okay if I share an example?
Absolutely.
Do we have, okay. So I have one client, he was in Connecticut. It was a real small bank when I first started my business. And he had, I think, 2 people to train. So again, we loved each other. I loved him. He was brilliant. He had the right idea of building a culture. Like he was the whole CEO package, right, for an organization. I was too expensive. So at the end, he was like, I'm going to hire you. And I said, you can't. I said, I can't because I'd be ripping you off. He goes, but you're so good. We need you. I said, I'm too expensive to train 2 people. That's unconscionable. So what I did is he had a real smart young man in the marketing department. I said, let me coach him. Let me work with him. Let me help him build curriculum. He could teach in meetings. And then when you grow bigger, then you bring me in. But right now, I think we could do it that way and then just hire me from a consultative hourly perspective. You'll save thousands and thousands. He became, first of all, he appreciated that, right? Which was the right thing to do. But he became one of my best referral sources. And that's not why I did it. I did it to be fair and honest. But he became a referral source for me for years and years and years to come. So it's a win-win. You know what I'm saying? You have to do the right thing. So I don't ever get objections, ever.
I love that. I really like on your 7-step process. I like every step of it. But
thank you.
Every step builds upon the next one too.
Correct.
And I love how you talk about, be prepared, don't come in shooting from the hip, because I know of situations where I've gone into a meeting very prepared and I've gone into a meeting that maybe I prepared, but not as good as I should have. And everything flows from there. And
Correct.
So depending on how well you prepare, the others are just going to build on that. And I really like, and then, as you get down into it, as you say, the presentation part becomes just the natural progression of it. And then, but the thing I've noticed in sales so much is number 6, people will go through that process. They'll do everything perfect, but then they're too scared to ask for the sale, ask for the business.
Yes. Call me if you're interested. What? Like I want to, my eyes, like a cartoon. It's like bubble. Like I think, what just happens? Why didn't they ask for the business? Right? They like you. The client likes you. It's a good match. You're not ripping anybody off. You're helping them. You're making a living, which is a beautiful thing. Why aren't you just saying, hey, this is the next step. Let's take it. Let's do it, right? Let's set it up. Next meeting, whatever it is to progress that sale forward. That's why I call it confirming the sale or confirming the relationship. Sometimes it's not opening the business, but now it's like, hey, Jeff, you know what? Next piece of it, we really need to get your accountant involved. The 3 of us need to build from what we just talked about so we get rid of all of the possible mistakes or potential mistakes. So let's kind of set the infrastructure properly right out of the gate. So sometimes it's just another meeting with another decision maker or a key person to get the program or whatever it is you're doing up and running.
Excellent.
Now you have you're talking about the personality assessment that you put
CSA.
together. I'm definitely interested in that. Are there certain personalities that you just go, you know what, bless you, but you probably shouldn't be in sales? Or do you feel like you can take almost any personality and bring that out in them?
So that's a very 2-pronged question. If I were hiring salespeople for my organization, you could certainly use the CSA, the Communication Style Assessment, to determine the right profile who will get up and running very quickly. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you're tech heavy, where you're technical and creating computer stuff, but you're the one who has to sell the product, yes, I can refine you to the point where you can duplicate. I'll base it on their personality or their behavioral style, because they can't become me and I can't become them. But I will make sure they have all of the concrete pieces of the puzzle to go through the 7-step process, because they have to sell it. So yes, it can be taught, but if you're building a sales team, I would ease your burden by hiring the right personality or style so that they just go up that learning curve really, really quick, because they have those natural interpersonal skills to deliver whatever your product or service is. So it's a 2-pronged approach, depending if you're the entrepreneur or if you're hiring a team. It could be used in either vein, but yes.
So now, sales and marketing are 2 different things.
Yes, they are.
Looking at yourself, obviously you've got people like the banker we talked about that I'm sure you get a lot of referrals. But how do you, I know how you sell yourself, but how do you market yourself?
So it's interesting. The corporate business, for the 20 years, I have never made a cold call. It has been referral based. But because I was known in the industry, I had a lot of contacts. So that was good. So that I would reach out to people, or in networking, they'd be like, oh, what are you doing? And I tell them, oh my God, you need to talk to my friend, or you need to do this. So it was totally referral based because of my reputation. See, that's why the planning and going through my steps and being real and not ripping people off, I am referred constantly. So my 2021, I'm actually booked through the year with clients, especially with the virus. Everything is getting pushed back. One of my clients just bought another company, so we have another whole population to train. And I've already got in my pipeline probably another 3 new clients on the corporate side. It's all referral. I make 0 effort. I'm knocking on wood right now. But that's reputation, and because I'm an expert in the industry. The digital side, now that's a different story. So that's why Heidi and I, how do you market that? Because now it's a whole different, my client base is totally different. Because of my connections on LinkedIn, see, there's so many things that go into it, and I want to share everything. But LinkedIn, I am very selective. I know people, I have 10,000, connections. Nobody knows them. Every one of my LinkedIn connections, and I have thousands, they know me or they were referred to me. So that's where I'm going to go in and leverage now, because I'm still deemed an expert and an influencer in the marketplace, but I have a reputation, a good reputation. Let me rephrase that, a good reputation. So that's where I'm going to leverage that reputation just on the digital realm now. So my feeling, Jeff, I'm going to say, if I had to project, I would say within 2 years, I'll be living off of referrals in that realm as well. It could be faster. Because technology it's not as intuitive for me. I can't make a prediction. If it was my corporate clients, I'd say 1 year and I'd have referrals coming in. But I'm thinking I'm being conservative. So but the bottom line is the branding is me. It's really my reputation and the integrity I bring. And I think that's where you leverage it. And I think it's going to work on the digital side as well. I just know too many people now.
Awesome. So you've got your corporate clients, and you take this banker that you use as an example. If you got someone, an entrepreneur or a small business or something like that needs something, and they're looking at you and saying, yeah, I can't afford that. Or you're saying, you know what, you can't afford that. Is that where this digital training can come into place? This can be for an individual, for a small business or something like that? Okay, that is
absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, this young lady, Bippo, she just created an app. It's called Bippo, and which was beautiful for COVID. It's not like DoorDash, but it is. So you, the business owner, restaurateur, would use her Bippo app, and her clients, they want to get out of the house. So they'll drive up to your cafe, and you literally bring it out and put it in their trunk or in their front seat, whatever. So nobody's touching it except that one person who made the meal. And it's taking off gangbusters. So I've been coaching her, and she now has to build a sales team. So she's like, oh, I said, listen to me, you can't afford to bring me in yet. Keep hiring people. Let me keep coaching you, because she's hiring one here, one there. I said, when you have your nationwide corporate, where everybody's out there running, I said, then we'll do kind of a corporate one. I'll customize it for her specific objections, her industry, all of those things. I said, but right now, just hire me from a coaching perspective. That's the most cost-effective way, but we could still get done what she wants to do, which is scale her business. So it really depends on the person and what they're trying to accomplish.
That is excellent. All right. So go ahead, Heidi.
No, I was just going to say, that's one of the things I loved about Connie, just talking to her. You can tell, like, she puts her clients first,
Always.
and that they're, to be, what, I know you're ready to hire me, but you can't afford me. I just think that's a level of care that a lot of salespeople can learn from.
Yeah. And it was cute because she's never been in sales. This young lady, she just graduated with a master's in accounting. Talk about a techie. She's brilliant. She's a brilliant young lady, beautiful, brilliant young lady. She's 24. And as I was coaching her, at one point she looked at me and she goes, oh my God, you're so good at this. And so I looked at her and I said, you're 24, I'm 58. Like, I've been doing this a long time. I said, if I'm not good at it, there's a problem, right? So her reaction was just so endearing to me, that she was so appreciative of my knowledge. It was adorable, and not that these kids, I don't want you to think, oh, I'm your mom. I'm not your mom at all. I'm a peer, but that she appreciated my level of knowledge was just really cool. So yeah, I love it. I just love it.
That is very cool. And I mean, and when your business is built so much around referrals and reputation and stuff, that's the integrity part is so important.
Yeah.
But what I want to do, like I said, in the show notes, we'll have the Web Talk Radio link for Enlightenment of Change.
Cool.
But anyone that's listening, that whether they're a corporation that's thinking, hey, I need this lady, or an individual saying, I wish I could have that lady, but I need her course, her digital course. Tell us where they can find you and where they need to go and do that.
Here's the easiest thing. And the free CSA, if it will be on my website, I could send you that link. I don't want to give out false. I have to check with my team to see what the live link is. So we could post that as well. I would love for people it's free. So learn about, and you get a little report, tells you what your superpowers are from a communication perspective and what your blind spots are. And we all have blind spots. So that kind of opens up another visual for yourself of, yeesh, I better work on that, whatever that skill is. So that I would like to offer. anybody that's listening, the best thing to do is email me, because I'd prefer to have like a 30-minute quick conversation, because then I could tell you if I can help you, number one, how I can help you, number two, and what the most cost-effective way. They might be perfect for the program. They might be perfect for me to come in and customize a program, and they might just need me to coach them, once a month to keep it affordable. So I'd prefer an email, which is Connie@WhitmanAssociates.com. So it's CONNIE at WHITMANASSOC.com. And then this way, I like to control things. I'm a little bit of a control freak, but I never want somebody to sign up for something and it not be a good fit. That to me is a disaster. So I'd rather us have the conversation up front, and then you go where you need to go from an affordable, proper step-by-step plan that we could, come up together. So email's the best way.
Super. And I'll have that email address in the notes as well.
Awesome.
One other thing with the CSA, if I'm an entrepreneur and I go through it, obviously there's some benefits for me going through it on my own. But then if I look at that and think, hey, that's a tool, I want to use this in my hiring process. Is there information with that they can understand it and learn how to use that? Okay.
Yeah. And my partner and I, we actually published a book. It's Communication Techniques to Present, Persuade, and Win. So it goes through each of the styles. It tells you all of your strengths, all of your blind spots. The little report you get is a modified version. So you get very detailed. And then we give 10 exercises that you can implement to enhance your style, right? Leverage your strengths, build on strengths, but also to help minimize those blind spots. So the book covers, it's like a deep dive, and it's on Amazon. I think it's $19.95 or something. So there's another resource beyond that. Anybody who take,
can you give the name of that book again?
Yes, it's Communication Techniques to Present, Persuade, and Win.
Okay.
Perfect.
If I would have had it handy to show everybody. But if you take my class, that's going to be a gift that I give, because I want people to reference it. So through the class, I will teach them, yes, absolutely, how to identify their style, how to identify a client's style, how to use the book. So all of that will be a resource. The other cool thing I just want to add for your listeners, once you learn this, you can't unlearn it because it's in your head. Start dissecting your family. You're like, oh, they're all hard. And I did a show with one. She was out of California. I was the guest, and we were talking about the CSA. And I went through each of the different behavioral styles. And whatever one I mentioned, I think it was a heartfelt advocate. And they're all nice names, too. It's not like these weird, like you're an EJ Gen or whatever, like Myers-Briggs. It means nothing. Our titles, actually, you understand it. But middle of my sentence, she goes, oh my God, my best friend is definitely that. And that's why she drives me crazy, because she procrastinates. And I go, yes, that's exactly right. You think she was doing it to, she goes, all this time I thought she was doing it to annoy me. I said, no, it's her style. She doesn't even know she's annoying you. So you start dissecting your family, which is awesome.
Very cool.
Connie, you're just fabulous.
I'm so glad.
I am so blessed to have met you, and I really can't thank you enough for being on the show with us today.
I love it. I love talking. Can you tell?
You do it well.
Oh, you're both so sweet. Thank you.
Well, Connie, thanks for being with us. This was some great information, and I really appreciate it. And it's so much value for our listeners. So that is great.
I hope they all find value in it. And really, if they have a question, just email me. I'm so happy to respond. Guys, I'm home. I'm working from my office. We're all quarantined still, so I'm around.
That,
awesome.
out of the whole show, that was the best part of your accent right there.
Yeah. See, they're messing with my Jersey accent, guys. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Truly
Take
my
care.
pleasure, guys. What a fun time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Connie.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Hope you got a lot out of that episode and you enjoyed it. The next few slides are going to show you how to stay in touch with myself, with Heidi, and our guests. So stay tuned for that. But just to give you a little bit more information about myself and Heidi, we're both entrepreneurs. I'm a business development coach. Love working with entrepreneurs. please visit my website at jeffheggie.com, jeffheggie.com, and jeffheggiecoaching.com. You'll be able to find out what we offer there, from the one-on-one coaching to the group coaching and the Inner Circle Mastermind. It's an incredible group of entrepreneurs, big thinkers. Love to have you join us there. So take a look and let me know if I can do anything for you. Now, Heidi, she's a business financial strategist. She works with business owners to create tax-free cash flow, to help save the money on taxes and merchant fees. And you can stay in touch with her at handerson@ecibfs.com, or you can contact her at 855-782-2737. Look forward to hearing from you, and look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Thanks.